And now, What's My Line? Brought to you by Stop at Spray Deodorant. Poof, there goes perspiration. Poof Deodorant Body Powder, the body powder you spray. Finesse Shampoo, the new flowing cream shampoo. All in the first truly functional cosmetic containers, far easier to use. All created by Dr. Jules Montagnier, the famous cosmetic chemist. Time now to enjoy What's My Line?
And now let's meet our What's My Line panel of well-known personalities whose lines you already know. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in the New York Journal-American and papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, our publisher panelist, whose very funny book, Good for a Laugh, is getting higher on the bestseller lists every week, Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
On my left is a cute little package who is going to be something when she matures. Itsy Bitsy Arlene Francis.
And on my left, the young and talented and handsome comedian, soon to start his own television show on another network, Steve Allen.
And on my left, a man we're very proud of, particularly tonight. He's just received the Look Award as the Outstanding MC of the Year for his fine moderating on What's My Line, and it's news to me, Mr. John Daly.
Thank you. And on my right, four people I'm very proud of, too, because What's My Line has won the Look Award as the best panel quiz show on the air. So it's a big night for all of us, those of us in front of the camera, and also all of those behind the camera who make the things work. And you'll be able to read all about it in Look magazine. Well, once again tonight, we're going to put our cameras close up on some people who have been nice enough to come and visit us and bring with them some interesting and, we hope, some unexpected occupations. It's their hope and my wish that they give the panel a rough time of it and carry away some prizes. We'll also have a famous guest challenger before the panel a bit later in the program. But now it's time for the experts to meet our first challenger, whose job they've got to spot. Would you sign in, please, ma'am? Ruth? Ruth Mouzakis, is that right? Let's make this a double handshake. Just to show you there's nothing but pure friendship waiting for you here. Where are you from?
I'm from East Meadows, Long Island.
Is it Miss or Mrs.?
Mrs.
Well, Mrs. Mouzakis, there are four nice people sitting over there who want to know you a little better. So would you walk down in front of the panel for me, please?
Ooh, I'd like to get a close-up of those diamonds. They're beautiful.
Look at the ones up on top, too.
Oh, how darling. Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Mouzakis, over here and sit down next to me, if you will, on the basis of your handwriting. And this short visit that you've had with the panel, why, we give them one free guess as to what your line may be. And we always begin the free guesses with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Well, I think she sews pearls and rhinestones on stockings.
Well, heaven's sakes, Mr. Cerf.
Judging by Mrs. Mouzakis' diamonds, I would say she owned most of the real estate down in East Meadows.
Miss Francis.
I think that she has an advice to the Lovelorn Club.
Mr. Allen.
I think she's a head telephone operator.
No, I'm afraid nobody has it right, so we'll let our viewers at home have a further look at Mrs. Mouzakis, and at the same time, we'll tell them what her line is. The panel has to dig. Mrs. Mouzakis, things get very simple from this point on. You just keep giving them no answers. We'll flip the cards. We keep the record up here. Each no answer costs them $5, and 10 of these no's, and you've won the game. One last bit of help. Mrs. Mouzakis is salaried. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Do you work for a profit-making organization, Miss Mouzakis?
Yes, I do.
Is there any product involved in what you do?
One down and 9 to go, Mr. Allen.
Do you deal in personal services of some kind, then?
Yes.
I see. Do you deal with both men and women?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I think it's only fair to say that any of us who are dealing in services come in contact with both members of the opposite sex as a routine matter.
I see. But would then, I'll take that as a hint, and I hope it wasn't a bad one, John. Are you more apt to deal with one sex than the other?
No.
Thank you. 2 down and 8 to go.
Thank you.
Miss Kilgallen.
Do you deal with anything besides people? That is, do you deal with things or animals?
Yes.
Well, are the things that you deal with animals?
3 down and 7 to go. Yes, indeed. Mr. Cerf.
That leaves us in things, doesn't it? And that's a big help, Mrs. Rosalind. Are these things that you deal with small enough to be carried by an ordinary mortal?
No. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
These things are inanimate. Is that correct?
Well, it's a lovely day, isn't it? Don't you
Animate is
think?
animal.
We're going to have a conference.
This is the part John likes best, and we have to put up with it.
I think because I said, are they animals, he's making me stick to animals as animals, not animal kingdom, so watch out for him.
Well, that may be it.
Would you care to give us your definition of inanimate?
My definition of inanimate, how can I get a yes? My definition of inanimate is something that does not breathe.
Carry on, Miss Francis. Very good. I didn't think you could do it.
Does this thing have any moving parts?
Yes.
Are the moving parts in any way mechanical?
Yes.
Is this thing, did you say, very large?
We haven't
I mean,
said. Would
it's
you like to
larger than-
inquire?
Is it as large as a person?
Is it as large as a person? Well,
You know, there's some small people, of course.
yes. Well, it's as large as a person.
Does this thing do anything special of itself?
Yes.
Is it operated by some sort of electricity? Now ask me what my definition of electricity is.
Yes, we believe that electricity enters into this matter.
I see. Does this thing, whatever it is, resemble in any way a person or an animal?
I don't think so. 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Allen.
I had a robot in mind, just so that you know.
Oh, that's good. After the show, I was going to ask you what did, but now I understand.
She was pulling a robot out of her hat.
Thank you.
Sure.
There'll be now 1 minute's pause to bury that thing that Mr. Cerf just put down. Go ahead, Mr. Allen.
You said electricity had something to do with this machinery. Does it run by some other fuel, more importantly, such as gasoline, oil, steam, or what have you?
Yes.
It does. Is the fuel gasoline?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you come into close proximity with this thing?
Yes, I do.
Do you in any sense operate it?
No.
7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Mouzakis, would this thing that you are connected with be used in any way for entertainment or amusement?
No.
8 down and 2 to go, Miss Francis.
Is this thing anything that might be used for experimental work or government work or?
No.
Not in this context of experiments. 9 down and 1 to go, Mr. Allen.
Do you drive anything?
No.
10 down and no more to go. I want you to meet a member in fine standing of the American Federation of Labor Firemen's and Oilers Union, a grease monkey on locomotives for the Long Island Railroad. And panel, don't feel bad. We figured we'd trip you with this one if we ever were going to trip you. This one we couldn't miss. Well, Mrs. Mouzakis, you won the full prize. We also hope, since you were nice to come and see us, that you had a good time, because it was wonderful having you with us on What's My Line. Good night. It's also good to see you. All right, panel, let's see what we can do with another challenger. Will you sign in, please, sir? Sylvan M. Edison. Well, perhaps the panel will be able to shed some light this time. Where are you from, Mr. Edison?
Chicago.
From Chicago? Yes. Well, I know you're tired, but one more short trip, please. Will you walk down in front of the panel for me?
Can I see your hands, Mr. Can I see the other one?
That's handball.
Oh.
It's hard labor.
Oh, thank you.
All right,
giving me
Mr.
a clue.
Edison. Will you come over here and sit down next to me now, please? And at this point, we always give the panel one free guess on the basis of the brief acquaintance which they have with you. And we always begin our free guesses with Dorothy Kilgallen.
I think he's a chemist.
A chemist, Mr. Cerf.
Let's see, Edison Sims came from Seattle. I would say this, Mr. Edison ran the Tavern Club out in Chicago.
Miss Francis.
I think he salts nuts. No offense, Steve.
Mr. Ellis.
All right. Well, with a name like Sylvan and a name like Edison, I think he's an electrician.
No, I'm afraid nobody has it. We'll let our viewers have a further look at Mr. Edison. And as usual, we'll tell them what Mr. Edison's line really is. But, Mr. Edison, the panel has to dig. I think you know the rules. Every no answer you give them will cost them $5. We'll keep the record up here. 10 of these no's, and you have won the game. All right, Mr. Edison is self-employed. With that, let's begin the general questioning with Steve Allen.
Mr. Edison, is there a product connected with what you do? There is. Is it something that could be used by human beings?
Yes.
Is it something that comes into contact one way or another with the body?
Yes.
I see. Is it something that's worn?
Yes.
I see. If I were wearing one of these things, could you notice it?
I think so, yes.
I gather then that it's something I don't ordinarily wear. Is that...
That's right. It's not something you ordinarily wear.
Is it something that women could wear?
Yes.
I see. Would they wear it from the waist up?
Yes.
Does it come into direct contact with the skin in any way?
Yes.
Could you describe one of these things as tight-fitting?
Well, now, wait a minute. Let me have a small conference with Mr. Edison.
John's trying it on for size.
Yes,
We'll give
actually,
a yes on that.
yes, we'll give you a yes. It would have to be tight-fitting, or you would have a lot of trouble with it.
Are there certain Hollywood actresses who, I think I'll pass this along to Dorothy.
All right, Miss Kilgallen.
Steve, couldn't you whisper the rest of that question? Well, would there be certain Hollywood actresses who would wear this?
Just as much as anybody else.
Actually, I would say from personal experience that there are Hollywood actresses who would wear this.
Ha-ha! He's had personal experience with Hollywood actors.
Mr. Edison, would you be able to tell, as I sit here, whether or not I was wearing this particular
Certainly
thing?
would.
I would say any man who couldn't would need glasses, Dorothy.
Is this something that's supposed to show?
No.
Is this something I would wear to a party?
Yes, you could.
Is it something that makes you look more attractive, usually?
That's a question.
Mr. Edison took the words right out of my mouth. That's all the point of view.
You mean it's in the male point of view?
Yes, well, or also, of course, as you ladies, I understand, once in a while cast a glance at one another, and say, well.
Is this an article of clothing?
Is this an article of clothing? One down and none to go, Mr. Cerf. 9 to go, I mean.
Mr. Edison, I'd like to continue our anatomical discussion. Is this worn above the neck?
Yes.
Is it something that would partially disguise the wearer in the nature of a wig or something of that sort that would change their appearance?
No.
Well, no.
It'd be parts of the words.
You said wig. Who's dominates the go? You said wig. He's stuck with it. Who's Next you go, Miss Francis.
Is it something you ordinarily are fitted for? If you have one of these or some of these, you should be fitted.
Certainly could be, yeah.
Is it something that aids you in some way?
Definitely.
Is it something that either improves your chewing or your hearing? That sort of thing.
3 down and 7 to go. Mr. Allen, I'm going to give you 1 more minute.
Chewing or hearing, huh?
That leaves the nose and the eyes. Go ahead.
Did you get a no on that?
I did.
I guess you did, or I wouldn't be here. Has it anything to do with your eyes?
Mm-hmm.
Possibly my eyes, too?
Yes.
Stupid question, all right. Is it eyeglasses?
Eyeglasses? That would make it 4 down and 6 to go. Miss Kilgallen.
Is it connected with the eyes rather than the eyebrows?
Yes.
Is it something that has to do with the lashes?
With the lashes?
The eyelashes.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Cerf, and 15 seconds
Would
more.
this have anything to do with glass eyes or something of that sort? Artificial eyes?
No.
No, actually, this is a real tough one.
Bennett.
I'm going to have to rule that Mr. Edison wins by default. If Steve hadn't gone to the plural, he'd have been all right. Actually, Mr. Edison is a monocle manufacturer, and it's not eyeglasses, it's an eyeglass. And actually, Mr. Edison, 1 for each of you here. Which we will distribute after the program. Mr. Edison, you win the full prize. Thanks for being our guest and Watch My Line. Nice to see you. Come to the special feature of our program, the presentation of our mystery celebrity. My friends on the panel would recognize our guest immediately, so they have been provided with blindfolds. Are they all in place, panel?
Yes, John.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? All right, panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery celebrity, we get right down to the general questioning, which we will begin with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you in any phase of the entertainment business?
Yes.
Have you ever appeared in motion pictures?
Have you ever appeared in motion pictures?
Yes.
Have you also appeared in television before tonight?
Yes.
And I suppose you also have been on the radio.
I beg your pardon, Miss Kilgallen?
Has he also been on the radio, I wanted to know?
I'm awfully sorry, Dorothy, that we didn't get the question.
I wanted to know if he'd ever been on the radio.
Yes, sure.
Are you an active performer?
Yeah.
Would you call yourself an actor?
Yes, sure.
Have you ever played a leading man?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear the answer.
Yeah.
Have you also ever played a more sinister character than the juvenile?
A more sinister character than a juvenile?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sure.
Are you under 48?
Yeah.
Get rid of this. It's making me nervous. Are you known as a more serious actor at times than the noises from the audience at the moment would indicate?
Yeah.
May I assume that you are not primarily a comedian, despite what you are evidently doing now?
No.
That's 1 down, 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
I want to make sure, Dorothy, of the sex of this person. I'm not convinced that this is a man. I'm going to take...
Go ahead. This could be anything.
Are you being... I'll dispose of this very quickly. Are you by any chance a female?
Yeah.
Livewell laughter. You're an actress, in other words, and not an actor. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And the voice that you are using is a far, far cry, I take it, from your normal dulcet tones. Is that
You
correct?
said it.
Well, would you describe yourself, or would you allow John to describe you as a very attractive actress?
Yes, sir.
A star, in other words. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you, or have you ever been, a brunette? Are you a brunette now? I think I recognize this lady's voice.
Well, go, Bennett.
Are you, are you married?
Yeah.
Is your husband also known in the entertainment world?
Yeah.
Would you say that your husband was primarily a singer?
No.
2 down and 8 to go. We have about 3.5 minutes to go. Miss Francis.
Are you primarily known for your picture work?
Yeah.
And you are considered a leading lady star, is that correct?
Also.
And you are considered a comedian?
Yeah.
And have you a picture playing at the present time on Broadway?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Allen.
Now, let's see. Have you had your throat checked lately? No, I withdraw that question. We've established that you are married. Do you ordinarily make your home in Hollywood?
Yeah.
I see. Are you a blonde?
No.
That's 4 down and 6 to go. That makes Miss Kilgallen next.
Have you any children?
Yeah.
Have you had one within the last year?
No.
Then 5 down and 5 to go. We have about 2.5 minutes to go. Bennett, sir.
Are you preparing to go into a Broadway show?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna, may I take a stab at this, John? Are you Rosalind Russell? Isn't your husband a singer?
The singer, not Dorothy, that 48.
But, darling, I didn't have you in mind.
Well, actually, Bennett, you raised a very interesting question. I think all of us know that Miss Russell has made a picture recently about the Woman's Army Corps. But I think probably Bennett even has the jump on me. What did bring you to New York?
Oh, well, actually, I came to do the musical version of My Sister Arlene, which is now called Wonderful Town. And it's true, that's what's happening to my voice from overwork and rehearsing. That's actually, we decided we would use that one. It's great fun doing this musical.
If you don't help your voice, they'll call it My Brother.
I love Dorothy thinking I was the man.
Yes,
And I also came here, too, to work and exploit on our picture, Never Wave It a Whack, which is going to open in Washington at a big premiere there, which the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Army are going to help sponsor on the 28th of January.
Wonderful.
So I hope to be able to get away and get to that as well.
Well, I'm sure the Wax have never had so lovely or so able a representative.
Well, thank
In
you.
movies or out. And may I offer all of our thanks, because you've come and joined us tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
I
May
enjoyed
I
it
ask
very
Miss
much.
Russell
Thank
one
you.
question, John? Isn't your husband sometimes known as a singer?
That's my father-in-law, Carl Brisson. Oh, you were on the right track. No, my poor husband can't sing the scale. I'm married to his son, Carl Brisson's son, Freddie Brisson. Ah, but you were on the right track. That's very good. Perhaps you should cut a minute of it off for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Miss
you very
Rosalind,
much.
for
I
coming to see
enjoyed
us.
it. Good
Will
night.
you go and say good night? Thank you very much. Panel, I've got to thank you, too. That's as much fun as I've had in many, many a moon. And now, in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a preview look at one of our guests whose line our panel is going to be asked to try and identify on next week's program. And next week at this same time, our panel of experts will be asked, "What's my line?" by this man. Would you know what his occupation is? Could you spot his line? For the answers to these questions, a good many others, some very interesting answers, be sure to tune in again next Sunday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when once again Stopette invites you to play What's My Line? For other localities, check your local listings for the date and time of our weekly series. And don't forget What's My Line on CBS Radio on Wednesday nights. Until then, this is John Dady saying good night, Dorothy.
Good night, Bennett.
Good night, my sister Arlene.
Good night, Steve.
Good night, John.
And good night, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Kaufman production in association with the CBS Television Network.